Hey everyone, today we are going to make a three-dimensional star Christmas ornament, and I'm going to try and do this with the camera like in front of me. This is really awkward so that it's not upside down and I can see that I'm in full camera view. So the things that you are going to need is a hot glue gun and a glue stick, some masking tape, newspaper, pair of scissors, some ribbon wire or any type of, sparkly gold or silver type string, and some decoupage glue. I like the Martha Stewart decoupage glue, and I'm using a matte. I only like this because being in Florida, it's so humid, and this does not seem to be as tacky as Mod Podge, but Mod Podge would work just fine. You're also going to need some white or like antique white craft paint. Mine is an antique parchment. You will need some chipboard or upcycled cereal box or cracker box of some sort. And you will need a napkin. I chose to do this poinsettia napkin, and this die, Tim Holtz Alterations die. It's a three-dimensional star, but if you don't have one, don't fret, you can still do this. You just need to look online for the shape of a 5-point star, print it out in the size that you want, and cut it out off, make a pattern and cut it out on 2 pieces of chipboard. And then you're going to score it. You'll go from the inner corner of the point of the star to the point of the long point of a star and score. And you're going to do that all the way around so that when you fold it, it's going to make it pop up to look three-dimensional. So not having this die is not a big deal. It can still be done. So to start off, you're going to cut your two star shapes. You need, a top and a bottom. And then you will fold them so that you end up with a shape like this. And that's just, when it's flat, you just fold and fold. Now, using the die, you get these little flaps. I personally think they're kind of in the way, but they're there. I guess if you wanted to glue it to a flat surface, that would help you glue it down, but that's not what we're doing. You're going to use your hot glue gun. Now this, unfortunately, I was trying to get prepared for this and I got carried away, and so this step's real easy. You just run a line of hot glue into one of the long points of the star and take your gold ribbon wire or whatever you chose to use and glue it in so that your star can hang from it. And let that dry. This, I did my string about 6 inches long so that when I folded it over and part of it is on the inside of here, that it's still long enough to dangle. Then, and I forgot to mention, you'll need about a piece of paper about the half the size of a regular 8.5 by 11. So you're going to take that and you're going to scrunch it up. And you don't have to do this step. I just do it. You're going to scrunch it up, okay, and put it in the center of the ball, or of the star. Scrunch it into a ball and place it in the center. And now you're going to need your masking tape. So that's just you're just going to put that in there. You don't have to glue it there. If you want to, you can. So now you will need your masking tape, and you are going to tape the 2 stars together. Now you can try to glue them. I did. I was unsuccessful, so I went the different route of doing it this way instead of doing it with my pretty papers that I have. But you're going to take all your stars, or all your stars, your 2 stars, and you're going to tape all your sides together using some masking tape, like such. Just go all the way around so that all the sides are taped together. Now I got prepared for this so we wouldn't have a 2-hour video. I have one ready that's already taped. So once you get it taped, you're going to need your decoupage glue and your newspaper. I tore mine into squares, rectangles, whatever. You are going to glue. You can also, instead of Mod Podge or decoupage glue, if all you have is some Elmer's glue, is you can take the Elmer's glue and mix it with water, probably, like a 60-40 mix, 60% glue, 40% water, and use that. I really like this Martha Stewart one because of the non-tackiness. So you're going to take and brush that all over. And if you don't like getting messy, this is not the project for you. You're going to take your newspaper and place it on the star, find the center, and rub it down. Just get it on there kind of good. Oh, we're not done with the glue, trust me. You're going to do this, smooth it out as much as you can, and flip it over. Take your scissors and you're going to trim. You're going to leave a little overhang because it's going to fold over. You got to clip in the center there so that, kind of like sewing, it'll fold over the edge. So you're going to go all the way around. And just happily cutting away. Doesn't need to be neat, doesn't need to be perfect. Just cut it like that. Okay, so the other thing that I found was if you take the tips and trim it on the end like such, and then go make it kind of pointy, when you go to fold the tips of the star, it ends up being much neater. Just make sure I got all the centers here. I don't think I did. Okay, looks like we're ready. Now we're going to go back to our glue and paint some more all over the top of it. Some people, when they do this, they like to wet the paper as well as the surface that it's attaching to. I did not do that because I have to use my scissors, and I did not want to mess up my good scissors. Now, if you have an old, crappy pair of scissors that you don't mind getting glue all over, then fine. Put it on both sides. It'll probably stick better for you. Okay, so I'm folding them over and rubbing it down with my brush. And I'm going to do that all the way around. Wetting the top of the paper, the edge of the star there, and folding it over. Trying to be as smooth and saturating as possible without it being dripping wet. So we can do this almost done, just 2 star tips left. Okay. Last one. Messy. This is a messy job. Do the back side. I'm going to have to open a new bottle of stuff here soon. It's almost gone. Okay, so just double checking. Making sure it's all brushed on and it looks smooth, trying to get the air bubbles out. You will end up with some air bubbles. I've tried everything and I still end up with air bubbles, but that's fine because you know what? It gives it a lot of character. Making sure my back sides are down nice and smooth. Okay. Masking tape has two purposes. We're going to use that to stack the star in while it dries. But we're lucky because I was ready for this. I have one that is already dry. Once you finish and that side dries, you're going to flip it over and do the other side. Same way. Wet the cardboard or your chipboard, apply the newspaper, trim it, and fold it over. Give it the top coating with the decoupage glue, and it's going to end up looking something like this. Okay, so the next step, after that both sides are completely dry, is to paint. Now some people like the look of the text coming through, which is fine, I like it too, but if you end up like me with newspaper that's not just text and it has stuff like this, you have to paint it because it's going to show through. So you're going to need, not that I think that anybody needs to see how to paint. Where did I just put my little paper towel? There it is. Both sides of your star. Of course, you do one side, then the other once it dries, and it may take 2 coats. Mine takes 2 coats, and you're just going to paint it on. It doesn't have to be perfect, nice and smooth as you can get it, and because this is just going to hide that so that it doesn't show through your napkin. Okay, so you paint that and you move on to the next step. I cannot believe we are already at 12 minutes. I was trying to do this so fast. So you're going to set it aside, let it dry, go through all your steps, painting both sides, probably 2 coats, but I'm prepared. I have it done already. So both sides are painted, 2 coats, and as you can see, it's not perfectly painted. So the next step is, yep, we're back to the glue, but we're going to take our napkin, and your napkin is probably going to be a 2-ply or a 3-ply, and you are going to separate those other layers from the pretty picture layer that you want to use. Okay. Okay, so now you're going to take your decoupage glue and you're going to cover your one side of your star with it. Get it on there pretty good. Make sure you cover the whole thing. Try to have it even but wet. It has to be wet. Go like that. Okay. Now if I wasn't using my masking tape, I'd be using it here to hold this steady for me. Okay. So I'm going to take my napkin and I'm going to put it on my star. I'm going to try and get the center of the flower on the point of the star. And then I'm just going to rub it down. Try to smooth it out all the way to the tips. Trying not to get wrinkles, but you will have some. No matter what I have tried to do with the napkins, I always get wrinkles. Okay, so then back to our brush with our decoupage. glue, we are going to coat the top. And we want it to come over a little bit because we want that tissue paper to be wet. Now we can be sloppy because we are not going to use our scissors on this. We are just going to do this all with our fingers and our brush. This little thing I'm using does not hold as well as the masking tape. So if you brush from the center outward, you have a better chance of reducing your wrinkles. Like I said, you're going to have some, but that's all right. I don't mind because I think it adds to the character of it. Okay, so once that's done, you're going to take your brush and just kind of go around the edges and pull the paper away. And it's okay if it hangs over a little bit because you want it to like cover your edges, but you're going to go all the way around the whole star. And you might even have to get your fingers involved in this. But that's okay. I don't mind getting messy. It all comes off in the wash. And you're going to, the little pieces that hang off, you're just going to kind of brush them in. We're going to go all the way around. Unfortunately, I have to do this. I can't just set it aside because it will dry and then it won't work for me. So I have to do the whole thing around to show you. Sorry, I'm getting quiet. I'm trying to concentrate. Brushing those under. Okay, almost done. This is like performing open star surgery. Tearing it off carefully. If it's a little too long, like I don't like how long that piece is, I can pull it with my fingers. And one more side. And we can say that this part is halfway done. Okay, come off. Pull it off. Okay, smooth those down. Okay, get this out of the way. Alright, so we want to examine our edges and make sure that they're all nice and flat. You know, tucked under, nice and neat. Okay, and if you would like, and I do like, is I go back over one more coat from the center out. It's still wet. I'm just kind of smoothing it on. That was a little piece of goopy tissue. And going all around again, making sure everything is tucked away just right. Okay, so once you get that done, you get to set it aside and let it dry. Imagine that. And once that dries, you're going to flip it over and do the same thing to the other side. Now you don't want to have a whole lot folding over the edge, and I'll show you one before I show you the end product of what I'm talking about. On this guy, I wasn't careful how I did my edges. And when I folded it over, it had some red here. And see how the red went into his face because you can see through the white part? That's why this was my very first one, and I learned to use the paintbrush to tear the paper where there's just tiny little bits. Okay, this guy I painted the edge with gold paint and used a spray glitter acrylic sealer. Okay, but that's why you want to try and get as close to the edges as you can. Now this is with both sides done. And on the edge, see if you can see there, it was very little folded over, but it kind of gives it that antique look because it's just that much darker on the edge where the two napkins came together. So it's okay to have a little. You just don't want a lot or you end up like my snowman. So the last and final step to this, and I don't know which way I want to go with it. I don't know if I want to just use a plain acrylic spray or if I want to use my one with the glitter. I mean, I like sparkle, but this is, to me, this star, I just love this thing. It is so vintagey looking, Christmas vintagey, that I'm afraid I'm going to mess it up. So I don't know what I want to do. Oh, just as a side note, when I was making this one, I forgot to put my string in. So how I fixed that is I used an eye pin. I took a safety pin and poked a hole in the tip of the star and used some E6000 and stuck the eye pin in and then attached my string. So you can also do that too if it's uncomfortable for you, with gluing the string in. But that is our finished project, and just to share a few others that I did. The snowman, he of course was my first one. And then I tried Santa, which none of these are sprayed yet except for the snowman because I'm trying to make decisions. So I did the Santa. So it can be a more, fun kid type Christmas, or it can be a vintage classy. I tried this one with just a worded paper. On this side I tried using wax like you would use with the chalk paint to kind of give it an antique look. I didn't care for that. I thought it made it look dirty. On this side I tried adding some glitter in some spots. Didn't really like that one either. This one is another one that I like. I guess maybe because it's more grown-up type looking, and I just took and put some antique gold glitter around the edges. And this was a napkin that said live, love, laugh. And so, I know it wasn't a Christmas napkin, but I was just playing. But I have to say, this is my favorite. I just absolutely love how this turned out. And time for the awkward goodbye. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have some fun making some three-dimensional Christmas stars. Bye!